All right, we are live now. Welcome everyone to the Fly Life Live with Tiffany Ginyard. I am your host. Thank you everyone for coming out tonight. We have a treat for you tonight. I have three guests. You might only see one right now, but we have our guests coming in. They are out doing their life work. And so we're not going to put a stop to that. And we're just going to hold space for them until they get here. And so if you have been a follower, a frequent flyer of the Fly Life for these past 5 weeks, you know that I start off our conversations with just getting grounded and getting centered, giving everybody a chance to just get settled in their seats or get settled where they are and just breathe. So I'm going to do that. Take a deep breath in and just settle the days, all the day's activities, all the work. We know it's important work. We know it's good work. But there comes a time where we pause because that's where we find our power. So wherever you are right now, if you're listening on a live conversation or if you're going to run this back, take a deep breath. Take a deep breath and let it out. I am here with my first guest, Miss Dedra Layne. We'll get into the particulars and identity, but I just want you to see that beautiful, fresh face for the first segment of our show. And it's gratitude. One of the things on our healing journey, on my healing journey, that I have come to discover is that when I get in these tight, thick places, when I get in these places when things just don't seem to be working right, all of the plans I just thought I had falling through, when my anxiety seems like it's getting the best of me and I can't organize my thoughts, or when there's not enough money to pay the bills, more month than money, as they say, I pause and I use this tool of gratitude. Someone last week said that gratitude is the gatekeeper to abundance. Gratitude opens the door. So right now, I want to invite you all to think about the things that you are grateful for. Because what gratitude does is it gives us a reset. It is a natural reset. When you fix your mind on the things that you already have, the things that you don't have don't seem as important because you realize that you have already enough. So to get that thought pattern jogging in us, to get us in that reset, I say just a list of 5 things might get us started. So with my guest, I see Jessica is coming in with us now. Hey, Jess, how you doing?
Guys, good.
In time, looking good, Miss Number 11. You are just
Thank
in time.
you.
We are getting grounded while we are waiting. We're waiting on Bobby to come in. He's out working with the youth, and he's going to come in as soon as he's finished up his consultation. But we're getting grateful and grounded. So what I'm going to do is, and I would like to introduce you to Dedra Layne first.
Hi, Jessica.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
And you also.
All right. And so we're going to drop our top 5 right now, ladies. We're going to start off with Dedra. I'm going to give you a chance, Jessica, to get yourself settled. Let's take a breath with Jessica, Dedra. Let's take a breath. Yeah. I think we need one more. All right. Yeah. That felt good. Top 5 things that you are grateful for so we can just get reset and start this healing conversation, Dedra. What are the top 5 things that you are grateful for right here?
So I am grateful for this very breath of life that moves throughout my being. I am grateful for my health and my strength, my physical health, my mental health, my emotional health, and my overall well-being. I'm grateful for my family, for the people who know me and love me and hold me and carry me. I am grateful for my basic needs being met, that I am without nothing. Everything I need, I have. I am grateful
for my health.
that I don't have to know when I know the knower. I am always
And my
covered,
strength.
no matter what shows up, how it shows up, or what my interpretation of it showing up is. I'm grateful that the knower has got me.
Mm.
That's my space of gratitude.
Right. How did it make you feel? So if you are just tuning in, this is the Fly Life where healing conversations happen, and we are just coming off of a day's work, and some of us are getting back to work, and we talk about gratitude being the natural reset. So we showing our young people what it looks like to heal out loud. So Dedra, how does it feel now that you dropped your top 5?
It feels affirming, it feels centering, it gives me goosebumps, if you would, to know that I am good, that all is well, despite what it looks like. That's how it feels to me. Good.
Yeah, I'm sharing those goosebumps with you. Jessica, what's up, honey?
What's going on?
You ready to drop your top 5?
Sure.
All right.
Okay. Well, first, I'm thankful to God. I'm just thankful for God, that God exists and that He has all of us alive and created this world. I'm thankful for health. As we are in the middle of a global pandemic and over 200,000 people have already lost their lives, and so I'm grateful that I'm still here and I'm still in perfect health. I'm also grateful for today. I'm grateful for you, Tiffany, and this opportunity to be here and have this conversation. That's 3. Okay. The
Oh,
4th thing, I'm grateful for um God's provision,
mm,
so that no matter what happens, no matter what goes on in life, God provides, and I'm thankful to be created by God that has provision. And then 5th, I'm grateful for my children. I'm grateful for the good times, the bad times, good report cards, not good report cards. I'm just grateful for everything that comes along with them.
all right. Now, oh, thank you, God. Look at this. Look at this. All
That's my man B Holmes.
right. Yes, yes. So, you thank you if you're just joining the Fly Life Live. You are live with Tiffany G, Dedra Layne, Jessica Fauntleroy, and Bobby Holmes. Bobby, thank you for joining us. Welcome. You've come in at the right time. You are right on time. We have just finished rounding up our gratitude. Jessica just did. I'm gonna get back to you, Jessica, though. You ain't off the hook. I just want to get Bobby straight. So we are showing our young people what it looks like, one of the tools and techniques that we can use in real time to to heal ourselves, to get us some instant healing, get us centered, and get us back on track when we find ourselves, derailed. And if we had our pre-show conversation today, I was derailed, and we used some of our techniques to get back centered. So, Jessica, back to you. While you thinking of your top 5, Bobby, back to you. Same thing I asked Dedra. I don't know what your day was like. We don't know what anybody is coming with today, but we all know that we work hard. And we work hard for ourselves, and we work hard for our community. So I don't know what you came to the conversation with today, but how did it make you feel to just lay those 5 things down and then share those with just put that out there in the universe, give your gratitude. How did it make you feel?
Oh, it felt good. I had a great day, and it felt good to say those things.
Good,
So,
good. Thank you. You ready, Bobby? What's the
Yep.
top 5 things that you are grateful for?
Well, first says I just wanna, thank you for the invite. I'm on this line with some dynamic sisters. The good sister Jessica. Peace, sis. And the good sister Dedra. Good to see you. I'm Bobby. We haven't officially met, but peace and blessings to you. And I'm with the good sister Tiffany. I've been holding it down for years. So I'm just fortunate and blessed to do that. Let me start with that first. Um, 5 things. First, it's easy. Life. I'm grateful for life, right? I'm very grateful for that. And second is the opportunity. Just another day to Be better than what I was yesterday. Third, family. Fourth, community. And fifth, hope.
Okay. And how often do you use gratitude as a practice in your life every day?
Subconsciously.
Yep.
You know, subconsciously, it show up. I'm not always as intentional as I should be. Sometimes I gotta check myself because it's easy when you're caught up in trying to do things and make things happen for the community, for your family, etc. And you get frustrated when things aren't going quote unquote right. So I gotta check myself and remind myself that I'm at a space I've never been in my life, where I have peace of mind, and stability, and able to do the work I love for my family's good. So I asked for hope dreamed, and certainly others have prayed for me for me to be at the space I am, and just sometimes I could be ungrateful and want more. This quite not the way it's supposed to be. This quite not what it's supposed to be. Without taking the time out to say, man, you here, and it took a lot to get here, but you here, and be grateful for what you have.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you. I see you rocking your Dear Black Man shirt.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, I just had Jewel on the show last week.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Shout out to Jewel.
The sister. Yep.
All right, so I guess it's on me and what I'm grateful for. I'm gonna try to keep it short and sweet. I'm grateful for self. And if you have been following the Fly Girl Network, I love acronyms, and so FLY first of all stands for First Love Yourself. And I just wanted to take that self off of that for a second and break that down because I got an acronym for that too. And self for me, these are the things that I'm grateful for about the self. And I'm not talking about the little self, the one that that is all dressed up in this flesh and blood, but I'm talking about the bigger self, the self that we all share, the self that we can't see, but we can all tap into. And so the acronym that I use for self, for S, I say that's spirit, that's soul, excuse me. And within my soul, there's a threefold mind. I got a consciousness, I got a super consciousness, and I got a subconscious. So all my social workers, all y'all social workers on the line, so y'all understand, we got a threefold mind, and we don't. Sometimes we only work with one.
Right.
One part of it. And as human beings, we have the capacity to be able to work with all three of them and bring them all in line and live a life and have some peace of mind, like you said. So I'm grateful for my knowledge that I have such an all-expansive consciousness that's never ending. You can never be too full. And so I'm grateful that I'm just continuing to being filled up. I'm being filled up just by being here with you all. The E stands for energy, and nothing but energy curated this meeting that we have today, and I'm grateful for that. That's the evidence. The proof is in the pudding. What energy can do when you put some positivity behind it and some intention behind it. The L stands for life. Like so many of you already, I'm just grateful for life. Dedra, she mentioned breath in her top 5. Everybody, we all, that self that we all connected to, we end up being grateful for all of the same things, right? We just articulate it differently. So I'm grateful for life and evidence of life. Like you said, I ain't know the hard numbers, but over 200,000 people have lost their physical lives. And, just holding space and uplifting that and sending them on their journey wherever they are going, because this life is not all there is, right? But we here, right now. And so the F is for force. That's that God y'all talking about. That force that's just like running through us, that's breathing us right now, each and every one of us at the same time, like on schedule. And we ain't got to tell our hearts to beat. I ain't got to say, hey, heart, beat, nervous, beat. I don't got to remind my blood to flow. You know, sometimes my brain might get a little clustered up with thoughts, but that force can wipe all that out. And that's what these healing conversations about. That's what I'm thankful for. And number 5, I am grateful for my village. You all, each and every one of you are a part of my village. I encourage young people to look for the people and seek their people in their village, because yes, we are born here and we might leave alone, but while we're here, all we got is each other.
Right.
And, it's very important that we recognize that and we tap into that. So that's the whole purpose of this conversation here. My village, right here. Everybody, if you're just tuning in to the FLY LYF Live with Tiffany, Christy, I got so many names. I'm here with Bobby Holmes, Jessica Fauntleroy, and Dedra Layne. We're going to get into who they are and what they do in just a second. But I just want to acknowledge you all, my village, that are watching and that are right here with me right now. Thank you all for keeping me grounded. This is an eclectic village. You know, I thank you for the diversity and all the different points of view. I was in my pre-production with Jessica, and we just kicking it in the bed, you know, talking about life, talking about our work, and we just kept it real. So thank you. And I just thank you for the love. Thank you for the love. So tonight's discussion is about, we're going to have an exploratory discussion about what it looks like to unpack and heal trauma in Black and Brown communities in Baltimore, where I'm from, and where tonight's frequent flyers have been born and raised as well. I call them frequent flyers because this is Bmore, Birdland, right? They have all been soaring consistent guideposts on my healing journey, showing me what it be's like to take life by the wings and soar under, around, and above life's unpredictable and sometimes seemingly unfair circumstances and traumatic experiences. Bobby, you talked about in our pre-conversation about creativity, spirituality, and servant leadership. And each of you all embody all three. And that's really what navigating the FLY LYF is about: navigating change, transformation, and elevation. So before I'm just trying to set the stage. So before I formally really get into this, I want to share a poem with you all. And this will just lead our conversation for the next 30 minutes. And I wrote this poem in 2004. It's when I met you, Bobby. I was 19 years old, and it was a self-published book called...
Wow. You got it.
Yeah, so you're about to take the conversation over after I finish this, right? Yeah. So this book was called This Thing Called Life. My stage name back then was Cashmere. One of the brothers, and I got to honor him, ancestor now, and I'm pretty sure his name rings bells in the streets of Baltimore. His name was Ray Cook. He was the founder of On Our Shoulders. It was a youth program in Baltimore City around that time, and he took me under his wing and he told me to write this book to heal. He said, baby girl, you like a cashmere rug. Don't let nobody step on you, girl. You better write your story. So this is one of the poems. Where I'm from, every day a Negro dies, dropping like rain pellets from the sky, like God's handing out pink slips. Too many people are dying young, under the age of 21, where I'm from. Every time I turn my back, I see a fiend putting their life on the line to cop some crack, and a homeless man begging for a dime, hoping someone will cut him some slack. It's a fact. So many young ones are dying where I'm from. Where I'm from and all over the world, the violence epidemic has not only gotten young boys, but has raped and beaten young girls, impregnating them with rage, passing down hatred to infants at early ages. Just last night, another mother lost her son right on the avenue where I'm from. More people are dying where I'm from in a day than babies are being born. Where I'm from, my generation is being erased by ourselves. Where I'm from, news cameras only come when someone has been sprayed, stretched out, and laid dead on the ground, still smoking from heated bullets as neighbors crowd around. My city shakes, vibrates from earthquakes and thunder. Heart still beating from the grains of dirt the undertaker put them under. Unrested souls of violent deaths left this world with a story untold, unable to peacefully rest. Teddy bears, balloons, and candles planted in the soil on the corner, marking the spot where endless blood dropped and a 14-year-old boy was shot. RIP painted on every light pole, the hood's farewell to yet another lost soul. My heart is pierced with bullets that have yet to hit me, mourning the loss of loved ones, knowing that there's a casket out there somewhere to fit me. Where I'm from, I'm scared every day for my life, cherishing every moment, every breath, oblivious of what time and date hold the keys to my fate. Where I'm from is an experiment to some, fascinated with the way we are seen as unruly, secretly depositing in our communities. Drugs that produce hoodlums and thugs, trapping us in with no way out, cutting each other's throats to keep food in our mouths. This is where I'm from. Red paints the asphalt, chalk outlines the sidewalk, crimes unresolved because people are afraid to talk. Red, white, and blue flaring are the street lights, not from the flag, but accompanied by sirens blaring, paramedics zipping up a body bag, holding yet another mother's daughter or son. This is where I'm from. Where I'm from, there's not enough love spreading and dreams are fading. The future is being carried away in caskets and hearses. Kiss goodbye at candlelight vigils, more young than old filling up the churches. Where I'm from, people rapidly disappear, faces being erased, others living in fear, oppressed, drowned in sorrow. But this is the world I live in. This is where I'm from. This is where I live, where I have to raise my kids, wishing I could close my eyelids and peace would come to take away the drugs and the guns, stop the rain and shine a little sun on my streets in Baltimore, where I'm from. So I wrote that when I was 19 years old. I'm 35. And I cut that short because that was like, again, that was a healing. I was just healing from, what was going, I was just spilling out what was going on. And as we all can see, we still fighting some of those same things today. So I'm gonna open up the conversation. Bobby, I'm gonna turn it over to you. You see, I'm sweating and all that, right? Because I just let out a story that I haven't shared in a while, right? And we're going to talk about unpacking trauma and what it looks like to heal healthily in our communities. And so you can start off with Dedra or Jessica so I can take a breath. Thank you.
Wow. First is I remember interviewing you about your book in 2004. With the photo we took for the article, we took it at McKeldin building on the stairs, going down to the parking lot. I think you had a bob cut then too, if I'm not mistaken. It was a Q&A piece. I still had that book. I believe I still had that book.
I still had a book.
Yeah. So to hear it, to see the book, and wow, here we are, full circle. In 2020, about what 16 years later, you could say.
Mm-hmm.
Here we are, and yeah, back at it again. But unpacking trauma. So Jessica, Dedra, both of you come from very interesting perspectives when we talk about unpacking trauma in Baltimore. Jessica, I had the honor, the privilege to work with you, to hear your story. Definitely fascinating by your resilience, and I'm learning to understand and appreciate that Black women deserve their space, and of healing, deserve their space of rest. So I'm learning that. You helped me with that, Jessica. uh, but I definitely think I definitely like to talk to you about your process. And like all of us, Jessica, you use the written word to unpack your trauma and to tell your story. So can you talk to us about what that process was like for you?
Um, well, first off, I want to thank Tiffany for that poem.
Yeah.
That I that was like the words of my heart.
Mm.
So I thank you for that, for writing that, because so many of us felt that way, especially when I was 19. That's exactly how I felt. That's exactly how I felt at 19. And it's even more interesting though that you guys met around that time at McKeldin in 2004, and I was going to Morgan in 2004
And we didn't
at the
see.
same time. We were all there at the same time, and we didn't even know each other. It's crazy. Yeah, I graduated in 2006. I finished in 2005. So we literally were on campus and probably walked by each other and didn't know in like 15 years we would be friends. So that's
Wow.
just so interesting how all of our stories connect.
Wow.
So when it came to the written word, I honestly felt like I had to in some ways. Like I felt like Tiffany, growing up in the way that we did with seeing so much death, you never know when you could die. And I wanted to have my story written. I wanted to have a legacy for who I was and for who the people that I knew that died and the people that were involved in my story of trauma, wanting to memorialize it, but also to be able to teach through it. Like, even if, like, so that means, like, if I died tomorrow, my story would be here and it would be able to outlast me, the physical experience of me, but people would be able to learn through it. And so that was what really guided my process, for putting it into the written word, because my friends mattered, my experience mattered, all of us mattered, but nobody knows what happened. So, how can people learn from this? This has to mean something. And so that is where, my interest in the written word as it related to that came in. Because I wanted people to hear this. Like, I don't want nobody to forget that in 2000, Dirk got killed, or 1990, my grandfather got killed, and I experienced that. I don't want this to not mean anything. It has to count for something. This happened for a reason. Somebody can learn from it. So that's kind of where my journey started. And that's where it really was. That was what it was guided by.
Well, thank you. Can I jump in? Look, Bobby, Dedra, I didn't formally introduce you, but this is a perfect segue. Dedra is the director of Safe Streets Baltimore. I had the privilege. I met Dedra on my healing journey. I have a clip that I'm going to show in a few seconds, but I want Dedra to introduce herself and answer Bobby's question about what the healing process looks like for her.
Thank you, Tiffany. I think you just introduced me. I am Dedra Layne. I have the awesome honor to shepherd the work of Safe Streets Baltimore. And I've been so blessed that I've been able to bring to bear the totality of where I've come from, to where I've been, to where I am, to where I'm going. So I'm able to show up in the fullness of who I've been created to be based on the traumas of my life. And they are many. They are too many for us to go into during this segment. But what's important to note is that I've been able to unpack those traumas by first acknowledging that they exist, that they were real, and that they were painful. And I had to exact a level of care for myself and honor myself in a way that I was expecting that others would. So essentially, I had to become the demonstration of what I was expecting from others for me, such that if they could never provide for me what it is I was looking for, I was still good because I'm providing it for me. And then I had to take some time to treat, to nurture, to heal, to reflect, and to come to terms with the reality that those things that happened to me, they didn't happen for my demise. They were not intended to kill me. They happened for me. It is because of those things that I'm able to breathe the fullness of life in my being right now. It is because of those things I'm able to show up in this heavy work, heavy work for our community, and do it from a place of love, of nurturance, and support. It's probably fair to say that I'm the elder in this room right now. And I count that as a high honor. I count it as an honor that you even want me to be a part of the conversation. I'm grateful. So what I want to say is I'm at the portion of my life where I have moved from the doing to the being. I'm real clear about who I am, about whose I am, and why I'm here. And I will not be deterred. It doesn't matter if it is accepted, acknowledged, appreciated, enjoyed, or held in disdain. I'm real clear that I am living my purpose towards the manifestation of my destiny. And when I'm not sure about how I'm going to make it through the day, I find a young person and I look at them. I look in their eyes and I find their hope. And I find their dreams and their aspirations, and it reignites me. It does something to me. It's like giving me a second wind. It reminds me of the purpose. And it reminds me that it's not about me. It is about the legacy that I choose to live through that I choose to leave through my living. It's so important for me to get this right, that when I am but a memory, people will remember how it felt to be in my presence. That's all that matters. Mm-hmm. I operate from a place that no one should leave my presence feeling less whole than when they came into it. That's the flip side of the gift of trauma. Trauma deepens your capacity for compassion. Who can't be grateful for that? Right. You can choose to stay in the place of the hurt and the pain and be stagnated and paralyzed there. But I liberated myself a long time ago. I moved from victim to survivor to now champion. I am championing the cause for us as a people, as a reminder of who we are and where we've come from. So bring it.
Bring it. Thank you. Bring it, Bobby. She talked about young people, was a good segue because you in our pre-production show with both Jessica and you, Bobby, it came up that, and Jessica just kept it real because we get into this line of work anyway, initially trying to heal something. You got to say about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
But we're the something we're trying to heal. We don't always acknowledge that at the outset.
Right. See, yeah, because my aunt said, I hope my aunt's watching right now, but she always reminds me that hindsight is 20/20, baby. So yeah, like now, like Jessica said, full circle, 16 years later, we like, oh, we started this journey in social work and writing stories and filmmaking. So, just to heal ourselves. So I'm kind of grateful. Like I always have an elder on the line for this reason, to remind us of that, because we are kind of like the middle children and we kind of like ushering in our young people to kind of get to the place, where Dedra is, but we are also trying to get there ourselves. Not trying, but we're getting there. And that's just the process. So Yeah, that was a big pill to swallow when I realized, oh, I'm doing all of this. And me and Bobby talked about this, and I guess we can engage here. But all of that pouring in that we do, what was
Oh yeah,
that for?
absolutely, absolutely. I guess for me, it was about once I got into it, feeling whole, and not really not realizing I wasn't I wasn't my best the best version of myself before this work.
Mm.
And it's like you could say it's spiritual, and I felt it physically as well because I felt good. I felt better doing this work, as hard as it can be. And don't get me wrong, I enjoy writing, I enjoy journalism, media, all of that stuff. But when I got into this work, I felt whole. I
And when
felt
you say this work, what do you mean? Share with our viewers with this
working with,
work that we all doing.
working with community,
Yeah.
working with community, uplifting community, and empowering our babies,
Yeah.
supporting people, being present for people, showing up for people, um, doing this necessary work. Um, I felt at my best, doing this work. Where I said, well, I want to be a writer, I want to do this, and I had all these aspirations, but it wasn't until I started doing this work where I felt complete. And as painful, and as trying as this work was, you wouldn't think someone would
Mhm.
say, "Oh, I feel whole in this work."
Right.
No, it's very trying, frustrating, disappointing days. Uh,
Yeah.
but still, I feel at my best doing this work. This work brings the best out of me. But I didn't realize it until I actually started doing it. So that's what it was for me when I was introduced to it. It was completing Bobby. It's taking elevating me to the next journey in my life, as a person and as a man, um, as a father, because this work has impacted my personal life, and I've grown as a human being from this work, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, because again, like we throw back, we back to Morgan. So I remember when you just had one baby and you
Yep.
were single father in it, and
Right.
and you were founding Son of a Dream because our work, we were youth development professionals working in PRP. You
Right.
know, um, it's amazing how this worked. We were trying to also make a living for ourselves and put ourselves through college, and yet it was so many young people and even our peers that your zip code and one traumatic experience can take you away from college.
Mhm.
Well, absolutely.
Just
Mhm.
one
Mhm.
zip code, that's a knockout right there. And then one traumatic experience, and you are not likely to finish college if you don't heal.
Hmm.
So, I know you started that work while we were in college. What was one, experience? And I see you working with fathers a lot. So I think, healing your fatherhood, just for me, I saw come out of your work.
It was a combination of so many things. I mean, but if you want to touch on fathers, I mean, I became a father when I was 17 years old. Um, and throughout my life, I made a conscious decision not to be like my biological father. At a very young age, I made a conscious decision that I was going to do everything the opposite of what he did. I was fortunate enough and blessed that my mother met a man who stepped in, filled in a gap, and raised me. But throughout my life, I still carried resentment towards my biological father, um, because I felt like he didn't do his job, and I was disappointed more than anything, very disappointed with what he was supposed to do. So me becoming a father myself, I remember, matter of fact, my father, the man who was raising me, he said to me too, and he was disappointed at the time because he just found out his 17-year-old son is have a baby on his way, and I'm in my senior year of high school. So he's driving me to work at the time, and he asked me, he said, "So what you gonna do?" You know, that the infamous words that men say to each other when we get someone pregnant. What you gonna do? And you know, in my naive, just being naive and being young and dumb, plain and simple, just young and dumb, I just shrugged my shoulders, like take care of it, like it was nothing. Like, you know, because what wasn't an option for me is to walk away.
Mhm.
I wasn't gonna give up. That wasn't even something that crossed my mind. You know, so I just shrugged my shoulders. 17-year-old sitting in the passenger seat. Um, and I just said, yeah, that's I know my responsibility. And I know what I must do. So fast forward to be able to connect with young brothers today who are fathers. I remember one young brother in particular, Imhotep, who was featured in my first film, Live Young Blood. Um, when he told me and shared with me that he became a father, and how I tried to support him during that time, and he's thriving as a father. And I'm just grateful to have that little role in his life where I offered support. In his time need with coming to father. He was older, he was in college, when he became a father. So my life going full circle in his work. And I did not expect it. Did not expect it at all. You know, my me dealing with my own issues with forgiveness and resentment, and then turn around and becoming a father myself, only to go on to support another young brother who was going down the same path and entering the world of fatherhood.
Thank you. Thank you. I hear a theme, and Dedra and I were talking about this in the beginning, in our pre-production, about mirrors. And so one of the things that I heard in your story, Bobby, is this, that mirrors mine, is the fatherhood issue. Where, you know your dad and he's around, but for me, but it wasn't as fully present as I felt like I needed. And when we talk about mirrors, I met Jessica before I even met Jessica again. Uh, I was on my healing journey, fresh out of the classroom. I was taking a mental health break, and I could not stay away. When we talk about how do you unpack healing, you go out and sometimes you serve. You find your mirrors and you serve them. And so while I was out on sick leave from the classroom where I had you would taught all my mirrors all day, I still couldn't get away, and I ended up volunteering my time at a Boys and Girls Club up the street from my house, right around the corner. So I was trying to keep it low impact. I wasn't going to do all the teaching and everything, but I was still going to go out and pour myself into some young ladies. Like that just said, one way to unpack healing in our community is through intergenerational connectivity. And so I know that as a healer, always. I found myself at the Boys and Girls Club, West Hills. God rest her soul, one of our elders, Miss Betty. She looked after all of our children there who were in the 21229 zip code. And again, if you're from Baltimore, the 29 zip code is so diverse.
Yeah.
Right? We got people who live on the line. We got people who live, in the heart of the city in 29, and then some people who, enjoy quiet neighborhoods in 29. So it's like jumping in 29. And I met your daughter, Jessica, Serenity, at the Boys and Girls Club. I still didn't know you. You just signed her permission slip to participate. And Serenity was, I see where she get all of it from. Very outspoken, healer herself. And what I noticed about Serenity, when we talk about mirrors, Serenity was definitely a mirror for me. I too had some experiences where, my mother struggled with understanding what was going on with me. And so I was so grateful that it was people in the community that supported me, and was another adult to balance parenting out for my mother and expose me to different people. So I just mentioned Serenity because I met you through her, and I didn't meet you again. I didn't meet you officially until last year. We were sitting in my house planning and releasing all of our stress and making room for the new year, and that's when I officially met you. So I just want to give you the space to share how your work has healed you and how working as a social worker and plugging this right now, a royal recovery. She is a three-time author, but the author of a royal recovery. And I remember when I met you, I purchased this book and I shared it with two young people as well. Because this book is real, y'all. It's about how us as women, because we don't know ourselves and because we don't take the time to care for ourselves, we project these qualities onto men that we think are going to save us. And we realize that this healing journey is about saving you. It's always been about saving you. It will always be about saving you. And maybe some of the upset that young ladies might feel is that that is what life is about, figuring out how to save you and love you and sustain you. And then relationships will come. So we talked about we on timeout from relationships right now because we realized we got a lot of work to do. Could you share with us what your work and how it's healing you or how it has healed you?
Sure. So I became a social work major because I didn't fit in with any of the other majors. I looked through the book. I said, let me pick social work. And I knew that I wanted to make a difference. I knew that I had experiences as a child with the social services system and with housing and with all of these different social service agencies. And I wanted to be a part of making them better because the experiences that I had were very negative. Mm-hmm. And it made me not want to be involved with those systems at all. Mm-hmm. My first experience with a social worker, I had went to school and reported that I was being abused at home. And the school social worker made a report. And the social worker came to my house and did a safety visit. And when she came in, she automatically listened to the person who was abusing me say, she's a liar. And so is he, talking about my brother. And I don't know why you here. And the social worker agreed and told me and my brother that we should stop being liars and be grateful that somebody wants us because we could be in foster care. And we said, we want to go to foster care. We want to go. And the case was closed. And that was my first and last experience with a social worker. So I went to college and was like, well, let me see what this is about. And I was still in the midst of some serious PTSD issues. At the time, I thought it was just that I had bad nerves. But what I really had was years of chronic child abuse and childhood trauma that made me basically like a ticking time bomb. I had very bad nerves. I had social skills, issues with social skills. I had issues with depression. I had issues just with mood and just with life. I just had issues with life. I got to college, had my first nervous breakdown at 19, then like kept having them every 5 years, you know. So I finished college, got the social work degree, you know, had the baby, went to graduate school, got the MSW, and was like, oh, let me go and work. And I started out in hospice. My first social work job just happened to be in hospice. And that 5 years that I spent there was the beginning of my healing journey. You know, over maybe 700 deaths, you know, and having these close relationships with death, being with people in their last months of life, doing end of life therapy. It started making me appreciate life more and understanding and knowing what's at the end. It impacted how I was looking at my present. And it started making a change in me. And then I happened to, when I ended up leaving hospice and going on to my next part of my career and, you know, working in medical social work and seeing, again, people's lives impacted by poor health and how people who had the same issues I had, like with serious PTSD, how it was impacting their physical health. and that just continued to help me on my journey. And it ended up really making me take my mental health more seriously and to get all of the help that I had been missing over the years. Because I mean, if it was still there, like I was going to little therapy here, little therapy there, but you know, I wouldn't want to minimize this, but I was in a battle with my mental health for very many years because of the trauma. And until the thing that happened with me with the royal recovery, it was like everything came crashing at that moment. And that was when I was getting to the end of my medical social work career, really getting to the end of, you know, being in office, doing therapy with patients, doing trauma therapy. Like I ended up taking any kind of trauma training you can think of, like any kind. And really, I started learning how to heal myself and also learning about the steps I needed to do to get professionally helped. And so by the time I got around to the place where I kind of didn't want to do direct services anymore, because I was just ready to just focus on my whole healing, because I learned in the process of doing all of that that I couldn't really actively heal myself the way I needed to and still be directly working with people. So I pulled myself back, and I was talking to Tiffany about it. I'm just really coming off of like 3 years of like self-healing and my work and doing it for me. And then also like how I met Bobby, which was through like policy advocacy and different things like that. Being in those spaces helped with my healing while I was intentionally working on my healing. Like people didn't really understand, really what I was coming off of, which was probably like 27 years of, trauma issues, that had impacted me in a deep way. And my career helped me see how much help I really needed. And it helped me to a place where I could heal myself. And like I said, and in healing myself, I ended up writing a lot, which ended up helping other people. So that's always what's interesting to me. Like when people come and tell me about how Choosing to Live Royal, which is my book about my experience with trauma, and then a royal recovery, when people tell me about how it helped them, that is like the full circle thing, because it's like now that I'm fully present in life because I took, the time that I needed to really get the help that I needed. It's a great feeling, that all of this meant something, because that was always my fear. Like, what if I just have a heart attack one day from all of this madness that exists inside of me? Like, what will this have ever counted for? And that was like really what pushed me into, like writing and doing everything. So, that's how my work helped me. It's like it's been a full circle experience. So now we're almost 40. Like I'm finally feeling like I'm in a space where I really live. Like I've existed for many years, but just over the past few years, I finally have this healing experience where I live. Like I smile. I'm not walking on eggshells. My heart is not always beating fast. My hands are not always sweating. I'm not always worried about everything that I say. It's just all of those different trauma behaviors. So, I'm thankful for my career.
I said you make healing sound so good. It makes stuff sound so appeasing. And thank you, because a royal recovery has helped me as well. One thing I want to say about healing, what I've discovered on my healing journey, is that it's this never-ending process. Healing is life, right? We come into this world at one of the very first caveats of the FLY LYF, what I'm teaching young people in the curriculum, is major key number 1, which is self-awareness. And that's being aware and having a sound awareness that we are spiritual beings first, having a human experience. So in this human experience that we're having, we're just healing back to our spiritual self. And what I found the gift of all this life is that you got time. We worry about dying, but when we can die when we can have these small deaths to experiences that don't serve our life, then fear of death is not really a big thing. When we take care of the trauma and take care of the healing while we still got breath, fear of losing breath becomes farther and farther down the list. Now, I'm not saying you're not going to worry about leaving here. Of course, we worry about, children, and we worry about that. But crippling, like I described in here, at 19 years old, carrying that kind of crippling trauma with you, not knowing if it's a casket out there somewhere to fit you, type of trauma, you don't have to live like that, young people. You don't have to live like that. So that's what a royal recovery showed me. And then talking about mirrors, and we can round this discussion up, 55, the number of change and grace. And this conversation started out being a ladies' conversation, right? But me and my nervousness and all of that, I'm like, I called to confirm next week. Like, Bobby, you on for next week? We gonna talk for next week? He like, sis, I was on for the day. And I'm like, oh. So we got this organic mix of what grace and flow looks like. So Bobby, you represent the flow here. You really helped me keep the flow of this conversation. Just your presence, your strength, your masculinity, your vulnerability. Just you've shown up for me ever since I met you. So, you are the kind of man that makes space for women to heal. So I heard you saying that you learned that from Jessica, but I just want to give that to you. Like, that's just who you are. I know your wife, Carrie Holmes, is very proud to have a man like you in her life, because you are all over the place and you still are present for her, and you present for all of us women in Baltimore City doing this work. And like, yeah, you like the big papa, and I'm gonna give you props. So thank you so much for holding that space. I really, really appreciate you. And we ain't done. We ain't done. So when we talk about grace, though, that's why I have Mama Dedra on the line. Because in my healing journey, I met Mama Dedra at the mayor's call to action coalition about 2 years ago in 2008. And what I saw in Mama Dedra was what healing looks like you was describing, Jessica, like living life, smiling, all that. I mean, and we got all this dirt and debris and neglect and all this stuff to contend with in our town, in our city. But we showed up at those mayor's call to action meetings, and the light that is Mama Dedra Layne always filled up City Hall with being very clear about, we got work to do, but you can do it with so much grace and so much vitality, and you don't have to look like all of that that's out there, because that's just what we see. But we bring it from the inside out. And so I want to share my screen, because I want to give the elder the opportunity to give us our charge as middle children working in the community, because we got a lot more work to do, and healers need healing too. So I'm going to give Dedra the floor after I take her back a bit when I was on my healing journey. And I asked her for some advice about healing. And I'm going to share that with you in a second, if y'all could stand by. I'm still working this thing. And let me know if you can hear it. People thinking they gotta come out on stage, or what? And so what I'm hearing is it coming back to agreement number 4, with doing your absolute best and identifying what that is in that moment.
In that case, your best changes moment to moment. And whatever the circumstance of the situation, do your best in that moment. In that moment. I can't do Tiffany's best, because I don't know what that is. I can only do Dedra's best. And that's what I'm committed to. All right, Dedra's best. Being committed to being your best. That's all that matters. And we were down in a space. I forget. I had a friend, and I was
still at this media thing, Bobby. So, I got this dream of being a writer. I got this dream of doing, all of this stuff. And God is saying, yeah, you got to figure out how to work that into your healing, because your healing comes first. And you heal through your work. So, Dedra, how has your work supported your healing process? And what do you want to leave with us today as we continue on our healing journey? Because we ain't giving up, can't stop, won't stop. So we're going to stay in this work because it's what makes us who we are.
So I think one of the real points that I was attempting to convey in that initial conversation was a cautionary note for you then and for us now. And that cautionary note is to be very careful to not engage in the dance of comparison. There's no need for it. You don't need to compare yourself to anyone because you can't be anyone other than who you were created to be. Be the best at that. Nobody can beat you at being who you are.
Mm.
Live your life with abandonment, being who you were created to be. We all have our gifts and our talents, and nobody can bring them to bear in the way that you can. So, absolutely, always do your best, but allow yourself some grace, understanding. Your best changes from moment to moment. If you get a good night's sleep, if you're feeling well, if you're feeling positive and affirmed, your best looks different than when it does when you are feeling worn, torn, and tattered, unacknowledged, and unappreciated. Your best changes from moment to moment. Simply do your best in that moment. The other thing I want to leave you all with, and I apologize in advance that I do have to leave to return to work. I want to encourage you to three things: to move from unforgiveness to forgiveness. That directive is not for your perpetrators or your violators. That directive is for your own edification and well being. Forgiveness is for you. You free yourself from the bondage of whatever the pain was that was exacted upon you. Once you're able to forgive yourself, let it go. Let it go. Letting it go creates the space for your capacity container to be refilled. And then reframe it. Think about what those issues, incidences, and occurrences did by way of the crises as ushering in an opportunity for you to come full circle, like you've each mentioned on this call tonight, an opportunity to use your life as a blueprint. If the pages of your book are diminished in a catastrophe of a fire, let your life be the blueprint. Let how people remember the experience of you be your legacy. It's in you. You come from greatness. You don't have to work to do this. You simply have to be. Get away from the doing, because it's in the doing that you feel like you got to meet certain standards and certain expectations and certain criteria. In the being, you simply get to show up and follow your guidance from the intuit, from the internal compass, from the one who will never lead you astray, that resides in you. And remember, this is my last note, and remember that if I never see you again in time and space, I will greet you in the mirror. We are the same, whether we are on this call, whether we are in the north, the south, the east, the west, or in a third world country. I take Jessica with me. I take Bobby with me. I take Tiffany with me. And my aim is to represent you well. That gives me excitement to know that I'm representing this greatness that's on this call. And you honor me enough to allow me to co-journey. I don't have any other choice but to serve you well. So when you say Mama Dedra, it makes my heart smile. It makes my heart smile. And that is the fuel that carries me on and on and on. So if nobody has told you today, Tiffany, I love you.
I love you.
Jessica, I love you. Bobby, man, I love you. Just based on everything I've seen, experienced, and heard tonight, thank you for giving space to sisters to heal. Thank you for being the support that we need you to be and being an example of what it should look like. We need you. We love you. I love you. Y'all have a good night and be well.
Thank you, Mama Dedra.
Thank you
You're
so
welcome
much.
so much.
And sending many blessings. All right, so we had an hour, but I want to give y'all a chance to just say what else. Give us your plugs, your books. We got Hugh Voices. We all three of us got podcasts. So let's just take a minute, and I just want y'all to share with the audience where they can find more healing conversations, more healing resources, more healing tools. So we can go ahead and start off with you, Jess.
Okay, well, you can find out about me at jessicatfauntleroy.com. I have a blog, which is called the Live Royal blog, where I share stories of overcoming obstacles. And that is liveroyalblog.wordpress.com. And then my 3 books, Choosing to Live Royal, A Royal Recovery, and Restoring Broken Wings. All 3 of those are available on Barnes & Noble and Amazon. And you can follow me on social media at JL Inspires.
Very good, very good. So we are making our healing resources available to you all. So if the Fly Life or the Fly Girl Network is not your first stop, we got Jessica and JL Inspires, and we got Son of a Dream for the fellas, and Hugh Voices. Tell us what you got going on in your neck of the woods, Bobby.
So you can check out all my work at sonofadream.com, where you'll find services and multimedia resources that support the healthy development of children, youth, and families. Books, my documentaries, my Reflection of Kings, which I partner up with my brother Raj Trey Sabera, and we created Reflection of Kings, which is a youth media program for Black boys. You can also check out my podcast, Hugh Voices Podcast. Just had good sister Jessica Fauntleroy on last night for our Facebook Live conversation. Tiff, you coming up next. I got a good conversation about girls. It's crazy. I gotta say this. I did not know that you came in contact with Serenity, right?
For real? Oh yeah.
Because you like my Naya, my daughter, my oldest daughter.
Oh, yeah.
You also poured into. So sis, I gotta, you don't know, like, you impact our Black girls tremendously. We need Fly Girl Network. It's vital to our community. Like, this on this call, I didn't know you work with Serenity.
I forgot all about Renaya, and her name kept showing up every time I was trying to tag you. I couldn't find Bobby, but Renaya just kept popping up. I'm like, I'm looking for Bobby. I couldn't, and I just kept saying, so I ended up tagging her in the conversation anyway.
But that's a testament to your work, sis. Like, I didn't know you work with Serenity, but you touching people babies out here. You touched our babies.
They my babies.
So,
right.
Sis, I much love and celebration to you. Thank you for pouring into my child, to my baby. I thank you, sis. I thank you
for trusting me with her. You got a feisty one too, but she is a queen. Yes, she is doing it at Morgan. Another Morgan.
Yep. Okay. Yep.
So we doing something right, y'all.
Something
yeah.
Right.
All right. Well, that concludes the Fly Life. I thank y'all so much. This is the final episode of the first series. So I actually completed something, Bobby. I got the first series of the Fly Life.
Congratulations, Tiffany.
First of many.
Yes. So we coming back with the Fly Life in January with our next 5 episodes, and we're gonna run this back. I'm gonna just ask everybody to share these conversations, and we'll be back in January. And I would have not have, I mean, the way this came planned out, I wouldn't have asked for nothing better. So I can't wait till this get chopped and screwed and available for young people to consume. So thank y'all for making this happen. I will be in touch. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon.
Much love,
All
sis.
right,
All right.
bye.
Bye.
Bye.